Hello everyone, this is Diane. I am here to show you the vegetable garden journal that is all ready, and I will be working on the flower garden journal next. But I have this one done, so I thought I'll just go ahead and show it to you and put it in my shop. So I'm going to put it in my shop. I'm just going to say, hopefully, I don't even know what day this video is going to go up. So I'm going to say 4 p.m., whatever day you see this, 4 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so this is a hardcover book that I took apart, and you can see I put an elastic around it, and it's got this vintage slide, and it is stained. I just scrubbed it, and this is what's left. So it looks like it was found in the vegetable garden. So I put that on there, and I just sewed the ends together, and you can just pull it on and off your book easily. This is an antique from a seed catalog, and obviously I had several because this is from the same catalog, and this one, and there's one on the inside. This one is a burpee. And this one is a burpee. I'll have to tell you something about the burpee family. But for now, let's just look at the seed catalog. Somebody wrote this 8 on here. I'm not sure what it said. Looks like it said 1917, but somebody wrote 18 on it. And this is the way it came. And then somebody wrote their name in pencil, and I didn't want to erase it because this is antique paper. I didn't know what would happen to the paper if I tried to erase it. So now it's Mod Podged. It's sealed in. And I used 2 pieces of patchwork. So this from here down to this yellow is all one piece. And then I added this little piece down here to fill in the rest. Some vintage rickrack. I love this one with the corn and the peas. I just love those vibrant colors. And I put some beads on the spine in red and yellow, orange and green. And there are a couple of little bumblebees. I don't know if you could see it or if I dropped it. So now let's look inside. Oh, I need to tell you the dimensions. It is 6 inches by about 9.5, and the spine is 2 inches, and it will come with this little packet. So there are the leftover digitals, and I'll have to leave the link to the digitals below. I didn't use a lot of digitals. This was an error with my printer. It was flipping my pages over, and I haven't resolved that yet. I keep telling it to print on one side only, and then it reverts back to flipping it over. So you can just cover that side up or keep that side and cover that side up. I personally like the vegetable side for this journal. This is from an antique or a vintage scrapbook that you saw me pick up with the wooden cover. I used some of the papers out of this book into this journal, but this was part of the title page, my garden scrapbook, and I meant to put it in the journal, but I didn't. So I'm putting it in your kit. This is one of those seed envelopes that Target sold quite a few years ago. I still have some left. Here's a little scrap of paper from this scrapbook. Some cutoffs with vegetables on the paper. Some of those are double-sided. And this was part of a digital kit along with these. And some extra tags, and a journaling card. These little labels are from a kit called Summer's Bounty, and I don't know the shop that they came from either. I put in a tab that I punched in a circle. This is from a children's book, a digital flashcard. Oh, here's another piece from the digital paper. I put in some seed packets, tomatoes, seeds, and castor bean seeds. And I had this cherry piece stamped, and this came out of a book, kohlrabi, I think it was, and I don't know, I don't think that's chives on the back, maybe it is, and a little piece of embossed paper. So those are some extras you can play with. Now let's look at the book. I love this too. Some fabric on the inside and some hand crochet on the edge. So this scrapbook paper is, the double-sided paper is from Stampin' Up! From several years ago. They probably don't have it anymore. And this is from a book about how to propagate carrots, 2 different methods. And this was the text that went along with this. I just turned it into a journaling card. These lined papers are from that wooden covered gardening scrapbook. I stamped on that behind it. I thought that mimicked the carrot leaves, the carrot top. And you can write on the back. There's an okra seed packet. Here's one of the Target seed packets. I did a little collage. And on the inside is a current recipe card and a digital piece. So the cards and the pages that I used and all those little ephemera pieces that you'll see, they all came from one digital kit. And like I said, I don't remember the name of the shop, but I'll try to find it. This is a ruffle that Carrie from the Paper Monkey sent me. I love it. So 2 of the ruffles in here are, or maybe just 1, but this one's definitely hers. There's a piece of that scrapbook paper and another little digital piece. There's a little 2x2 envelope. I glued the flap open. And the label is also part of that digital kit. Oh, this is another digital kit that was separate with the little flashcards and the vegetables. Summer's Bounty. A little tag and another flashcard. Ledger paper and a little, this looks like it would be a canning label or a freezer box label. A paper that you can plot out your garden on, and on the other side is lined paper. I tried a few times to make videos as I worked in this journal, and they just didn't work out for one reason or another, so I don't think there are any except for my introductory video. Here's one of the digital pages and a tab that I put on it. And this came from, let me show you. I don't think I have it over here anymore. It was a big green book, gardening book from CZ Guest. Yeah, I don't see the cover. Oh, I see where it is. It's on the other side of the room. CZ Guest was a famous lady. She was a wealthy lady that hung around with a group of ladies who were friends with Truman Capote. And so she was in that mini-series that was on, I don't even know what channel it was on, but it was a mini-series about Truman Capote, and CZ Guest was one of the characters. Anyway, this was a gardening book by her, and I don't know, I'm assuming she did the sketches, but I liked it because it had the green ink on it. And there were a few vegetable pages in it. This is from that scrapbook, gardening scrapbook, Things to Do in July, and some vintage lace on the side. A smaller ledger page. And this little fabric flip has little ladybugs on it. There is a bright orange and white diagonally striped sack and orange, little orange carrots. I don't know what kind of carrots they are. And this card has some carrots planted in a pot. Here is just some letterhead paper from Boys Prep and Students Clothing. I recently got a little stack, a small stack of this letterhead paper at the flea market. This is a billhead paper that I've had for quite a long time. And this was a digital paper, but I don't know. I think I did publish the video where I was stenciling and then drawing little doodly things on this, and I glued these pieces down that I had stamped. I think I did that on video, and I don't know if you noticed, but the digital paper that I did it on was upside down. So I wasted that digital paper because I didn't want all this work that I did to go to waste, because I did some on the other side too. You'll see lots of little pieces that I glued on. So I just covered up the digital. I was so mad. There's another digital there. And this card game that has some tomatoes on bread and a digital flashcard. Here's another of CZ Guest's pages, and there's lots of space here for writing. She's talking about vegetables and fruit trees and raising tomatoes. Little sketch of onion. So this is the other side of that page. The tomatoes, the onion, and the beets, the leaves, they were all, I had to stamp them separately and then cut them out. And then the carrots and the lettuce, leaf lettuce. So I didn't want, I had to preserve that rather than the digital, I guess. And the stamp here says just a few of my favorite things. This is a digital little tuck spot, and this is also a digital, and another piece of the sandwich with some lettuce on it. Vegetable garden, that's a digital. And then I created this pocket with another of these antique garden seed catalog covers. And I added a strip of cardstock at the top that I edge punched, and I added a little digital label there. This is a quote from CZ Guest in her book, and I put the lined paper from the scrapbook on there. So I do want to read this. I read it in one of the videos that I didn't publish. Mother Earth is at this time releasing all her family. So she's talking about springtime. It's almost like magic. Think how exciting the first warm day is. To hear one bird, the smell in the air, to run outside barefoot, to lie in the grass. There is electricity in the air, and it is transferred to us. The renewal of life. Everything we have, the earth gives us. We take it so for granted. Don't let yourself miss this. Gardening is the best therapy in the world. You can put so much into it and get so much back. Love is everything. How lucky we are to live on this bountiful earth. You can bring the beauty to yourselves through gardening. Your garden will help you realize and appreciate how truly exquisite nature is. CZ Guest, Templeton, I believe that was the name of her home, Old Westbury, Long Island, New York. This is a tag that I made with a thin green cardstock I embossed with a checkerboard pattern, and then I glued this text on straw paper here and an image from a children's encyclopedia, another of the labels. And this is a bread tab, or it could be the tab from a vegetable bag. Sometimes potatoes have those kinds of tabs on them. And in order to smooth out this embossing so you could write, I just put some white cardstock on the back. Here's the other side of the small ledger page, and this is one of the Summer's Bounty labels with a lady with some food that she made. Maybe it's a pot roast with some vegetables in it. This collection of produce with a glass of milk was from a children's book. I just stitched some fabrics and a ribbon on that edge. And this is from a vintage appointment book, and it's got dates in August. There's a vintage library pocket. I put some washi tape at the top and another image from that children's encyclopedia. Here is a date due paper that came out of a book, dated, it started in '66, and this is one of the tags that came with the digital kit. This came with a digital kit, an order blank for a seed and grain company. This is, I don't know where I got this paper, but it wasn't double-sided, so I had to decorate the back. And I did a video, I think this was on the video that I published. So I did corners and I stamped bursting with happiness. And this is layaway envelope. I didn't do anything to it. I just tucked it in there for you to play with. Another piece of the digital kit. This one has tomatoes on it. Digital page. And another little envelope with a tag and a label for raspberries. There's a radish. This says planting record, and I added this vintage. No, this is not vintage trim. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. And this is from the same cover that I made that pocket out of. I showed you that piece up here. So anyway, this was on that same cover. It wasn't a full picture like, well, this isn't a full picture either. So it would have been like one of those parts. And this was a digital. And this is one of the digital pages, or I guess it was a card, large card. Oh, some of this came from Lorna Taylor. She sent me some gardening pages, including, and they were like the old seed images. And there were some vegetables in that. Thank you, Lorna. That's tailor-made journals. Also, I'll link her kit too. This is another sack with a pear that came out of a vintage children's book, and this is the Spanish word for pear. And we have a garden lettuce card. You can always glue something to the back of that so you can journal. But I left the information there in case you wanted it. This is a page from a children's book. Very pretty colors. And the back of it was an umbrella. It was an alphabet book. So I covered that with ledger paper. There's a digital and a vintage flashcard. It says pick. We have to go out into the garden and pick our veggies. And a radish digital flashcard. She drew a rake and a basket of weeds or whatever. This is a picture out of that book, a photograph with vegetable garden and this little carrot sign. And it formed a pocket on this side. So this is from an antique magazine, Everything for the Garden. A catalog you could order. I have two of those images, so they're both in the same signature. Here's the other one on this bag that I embossed and ran some ink over. And this is from the same children's book that the pear was in. I just love the colors. And we have radishes here. I made a double pocket with this children's book illustration and an embossed piece of cardstock with the dots on it. This little scrap that I put in your kit came from that. This is a French card, flash card, that says, I like to do gardening. I like to do gardening. Man, I can't even say it in English, but there's how you say it in French. J'aime faire du jardinage. And a tag, another card with tomatoes, and a flash card with pumpkins. It's a digital. I added a vintage trim. I guess these are both vintage. Another tiny little pocket with a scrap of the Stampin' Up! Paper and another label. This says, enjoy the simple moments. Here I have a tomato seed packet with, I pulled it out after the glue dried. So why is it stuck again? I think it's just kind of tight in there. Anyway, it's a green paint chip, and I put some of that lined scrapbook paper on it. By scrapbook paper, I mean the vintage wooden covered gardening scrapbook. Here's the other ruffle. I was thinking that maybe Carrie made that, but I don't know because I think I had that piece of fabric. I've got to glue that back down. But this is a vintage patchwork piece. It's not the same as that one. Vintage lace there, and another of these seed envelopes. And this one has another recipe card and another digital. And there's a jack bean seed packet and a tag. I stamped the background. There's a coat check there, and I stamped that. And this is from a very old book about botanicals, and you can see it has different vegetables. There's a tomato and potato plant, and I'm not sure what these others are. And this is a little scrap from that scrapbook paper. And these are digitals. I have way more flowers than I had vegetables. There's cucumbers on this label. And some more of my stamped pieces. And this is from the CZ Guest book with a planting zone map of the United States. Here's a little note paper that says rosemary, sage, and thyme. Vintage rickrack and vintage trim, and this says spraying record. Of course, you can just use it for journaling. A vintage gingham and a vintage patchwork piece. I think this is the piece that I put on the spine. And some stamping right on the page. Here we have the digital page with a digital card. Tomatoes on bread and the potato flashcard. She drew some lettuce there. And another orange bag, and this one has sweet pepper. This came off of one of the gardening seed pack, one of these. I'm pretty sure, or else an old magazine. These are all digitals. These are all cut from a little children's book, corn and apple and carrot tag, and then the lady with her pot roast or apple pie or whatever it is. This was from a children's game, and it was a thick card, a little thick tile, and I peeled it, so it's just the top layer here. And this is from an appointment book in 1967. These are July dates. There's a watermelon seed packet. You could, I think this fits in it. I didn't do anything to it. It's another part of that antique cover, seed catalog cover. So that would fit in the pocket, and then this goes behind it. You can glue something on that to write on or put a picture on it. This is the spine part of one of the catalogs, Burpee's Seed Annual for 1918. Another picture from that children's Spanish book, Rabanito. And there is a journaling card, a digital with a pepper on it, red pepper. And another recipe card. This says 1918, so that spine piece probably came from this. And this might have been on it, because these are front and backs of those catalogs. So this book, I didn't count the pages, but there are a lot of pages in each signature. I'll put that in the listing. And it's full. It's not bulging yet, but if you start putting things in it, it will start popping up. So this will tighten up, but there's stretch in it, room for it to grow. And then you get these. So I hope that you like this, and I hope you'll come back to, maybe you'll actually get to see some of the work being done in this one. I don't know. It's just been kind of crazy summertime with a lot of stuff going on, and I was also trying to finish setting up my room while I was working on this. And there will be more of that. My brother is working on my table and stuff. So I don't know when they're going to arrive, but things will be moved and changed again. So it's just a time of flux for me, but things will settle down before the fall comes, which I'm looking forward to. I will see you in the next video, and I hope that you're having a creative day. As I said, this will be in my shop at 4 p.m. the day this video goes live. So go check out my shop. I'll link it below. I'll link some of the digitals below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a creative day. Bye.